What's up, YouTube? So as I'm preparing to move out of my house, this is my first house that I ever bought. We're upgrading to a bigger house. We bought this one in 2009 when the market was sluggish because of the economy, and we're getting quite a return from it. Anyways, I'm getting a little nostalgic, and I'm starting to record things that I did to this house to upgrade its efficiency and hopefully make it a little more attractive to buyers, which obviously worked because I got what I wanted on the house. Right now I'm going to talk about Reflectix insulation for heating systems. This is a forced air system. My house is a little weird in the fact that it has a boiler on one side, which is like an in-law that we use as a living room and a bedroom. We basically use the house as a whole thing, but it has like an in-law type feature with its own kitchen and everything. But I'm specifically going to deal with the forced air side of things here. Reflectix is basically, for lack of a better term, aluminum foil type material with bubble wrap in the middle of it. And the reason why I went with this, definitely not the most R value you can get, but in my problem with my application here, the supply ducts that go upstairs and supply the heat, they're very, very close to the ceiling, and I didn't have enough clearance to use fiberglass with, without compressing it, which would decrease the R value to begin with. Just to let you know, before you do all this wrapping and stuff, there's things that you're going to need to know, and that is underneath all this, which I can't show you because I taped it all up, but there were gaping holes. For example, the previous homeowner had a gaping hole here. And when you have holes in the actual sheet metal, which will look like this, when you have gaping holes in the ducts, you're just wasting heat. You're heating a basement. And if you have an unfinished basement like I do, then you're paying to heat a basement that you don't use. So anyways, first thing you want to do is you want to use mastic, which I am not allowed to show you because I haven't been able to find where I put the rest of it. But mastic basically is a paint-on substance. If you go to any hardware store, they should be able to supply with mastic, and you just basically paint it on, and you get gaping cracks and holes in the system all patched up. And again, this is probably the best thing I can tell you is underneath here there was a big hole. The sheet metal is pried up and heat was gushing out. So what I did was I bent the metal down, I got the mastic, I really sealed it, and then if you notice, the next thing you have to know is this is aluminum foil tape. Now Reflectix sells its own tape, but the most important thing that you want to make sure it says is you want to make sure it says 181, I know you can't read that, but it says B. Okay, 181B listed. It's made for cold weather. This is the tape that is not going to unstick, basically. It allows heat and cold to get to it, and it won't unstick. It took me a while to do this by myself because I took my time. But with Reflectix, to put it on, you basically cut it to go around, and then you tape the seams to seal it. And the R value, I want to say, is about a 4, the way I did it. I didn't leave a lot of airspace in between. I mean, there's some here. See, I can squeeze it in. But they say to use spacers if you want to increase the R value. Again, I wasn't able to do that because the ceiling is very close to the supply ducts. But what you do accomplish by putting the Reflectix around is you seal everything. So even if there's like the smallest hole you could possibly think in the actual duct, which again you want to hit with mastic, it will stay in here and it will still be sucked going up if you seal it very, very well. At the end there, I really made sure I sealed off right at the end so that no heat escapes. It goes right up to the duct. Okay? So that was an awesome thing to do, and I know it saved me money. I know I basically made back my money because I've had it here for about 6 years. You'll notice that in some places, only because of the way my house is built, it's very hard to get to places. So I still use fiberglass in some areas, but I made sure that I sealed off the actual Reflectix. And again, I just did the supply duct. I didn't do the return duct. Some people can do return ducts. I didn't think it was going to save me a lot of money. But again, I did every single duct. When I first got in here, the most they had this fiberglass sheathing applied to the ceiling. If you see the remnants of it right there. And yeah, we found a little rodent, dormant rodent activity in there. Not that they were in there anymore, but I ripped it right down, and I just got the Reflectix. This is even closer to the floor above, by the way. So again, that's why I can only use the Reflectix by wrapping it around. I try not to make it too tight. I'm trying to give it some things. And yeah, it's been a great system for an old house where the duct was just kind of put in. That's close to the floor too, so there wasn't a lot of space. And one last thing I want to tell you is, you know how I said use mastic on it? That's the best way of sealing holes in your ducts. But you can use this aluminum tape. And again, you want to say listed, 181A. And then 181B-FX means flexible. So you can also use it on flexible duct. But you want to use that so that stays together. This has been here again, six years. And it's been nothing but good. So, no. So, Reflectix, I know some people look down on it, but as long as you install it right, it's going to save some money. Again, it just matters how much money you're going to make back. And it doesn't have the R value unless you leave a little airspace in between, because it is radiant insulation. In other words, it hits it, has some airspace that captures the warmth, and then it returns it right back out. And do I recommend Reflectix? In my application, yes, only because I don't have a lot of space to get it up there. And you have to seal everything, though. Even the top there, you have to seal. Last thing, too, that made it more efficient is these are the return ducts that go into the thing. I really made sure I spray foamed and sealed all those to make sure that we really have everything as sealed as possible. And there's me sealing with some tape too. So yeah, overall, if you can do it, it's a great product. It served my needs, and in my new house it's a lot newer, so I won't be doing it, but I wouldn't hesitate to use this in the past. On a side note, I've also used it to insulate fish tanks to keep warmth in the tank. It's been a great product. Kind of expensive, but it does pay for itself over time, and you do eventually recoup your costs. So that was my review on Reflectix insulation, on a heating system.